Hello everybody, welcome to this new interesting light source. I'm just trying something different. And I thought I would, because why the hell not? And it gives my face a rather bleached out look, but it just sort of works actually. I kind of like it. Today is going to be another Think Tank episode. Now, what is Think Tank? Think Tank is basically my thoughts on a subject. Hang on. There we go. That's better. And how to improve something or make something better. Wait. Guys. Right, okay, sorry. In the comments, does my face look blue? Because if it does, I know what I'm going to do next. But, sorry. It gives it quite a nice look. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting off track here. If you're a fan of science fiction, you definitely should know the next two names of species that I'm going to tell you about. Cybermen. Oh no, I've lost track again. Bloody hell. Lack of sleep. Basically, Think Tank is me talking about a subject that I think is interesting and trying to improve it, or trying to create a new, just so that you can have my thoughts about a subject, or something that I think is so obvious that somebody should have done it. It'll become clear. There are two species in science fiction which are owned by different people. Well, no, not people. Well, different companies. The first species is Borg, owned by Star Trek, which is Paramount in the US, which are a cybernetic race who take any living organism, and add it to their collective, which is basically a large-ass version of Facebook. I think of Facebook as Borg most of the time, because most of it's... You seem to want to have a large number of friends on Facebook. Frankly, I've got about 6. Frankly, I think it's a waste of time, but I've got a Facebook page. It's in the description. And there is another species that I'm going to talk to you about, which is Cybermen, which is basically came out a long time before the Borg were even thought of, which are sort of the same thing. The original Cybermen, before the re-release in 2005, came from a planet called Mondas, which is, in the Doctor Who universe, a parallel version of Earth, where every single person was upgraded. Now, what upgraded means is that you become a Cyberman. All emotion is disabled, and you get a load of biomechanical components, but you are still a human in that suit. You don't have control of yourself. Well, I don't know. I have never understood if you have control or not with the Cybermen. I'm not that big a Doctor Who fan, but it is a little bit misunderstood in my knowledge is not that good. But there's something about the two species that would make them so much better if they worked together. Now, it is canon in a Doctor Who comic that they actually did. It was a Star Trek Next Generation crossover where the Borg and the Cybermen worked together. I've heard it's very good. I'm going to read it at some point, but the art's reasonable and stuff, and it had the best Doctor and best companions. It was Matt Smith's. But let's talk about what the Cybermen have problems with that the Borg basically solved from day one, and vice versa. So let's start with the Cybermen. The Cybermen have a trouble with conversion. Their conversion. Basically, in the 2005 version of Cybermen, which was an interesting redo of them, they were converted by basically controlling everybody on Earth with earpods, which was a technology, basically Bluetooth speakers, ear connectors. And they sort of walked into the cyber conversion units and just became converted. They had their brain taken out and put into a Cyberman suit, and had all emotion erased. Now, that's the interesting thing. The emotion is, I'm not sure if it's erased with the Borg or not. There is no emotion in the Borg until you get to Star Trek Voyager. I know I'm going slightly off subject here, but the Borg are a bit of a mess in the Star Trek universe, because until you get past First Contact, they are an incredible enemy that basically are worse than zombies. Let's face it, it's like, which would you rather be, a zombie or assimilated by the Borg? It's more, give me the zombie, because I'd be dead. The problem with the Borg is that the Borg control your mind, but they don't. They make you dependent. Basically, they give you... It's sort of like a drug. They have the collective, which basically every single other drone is talking. I know that might seem completely asinine if you've not watched the series and only watched Doctor Who, but it's basically a complete chatterbox, and they can all understand each other, and it's a bit like a load of ants. The problem with the Borg is that one Borg disconnected from the collective has one of two problems. One, it wants to create another collective. Okay, that's fine. That's one of its primary objectives. But two, it also has no instruction set. It's basically like putting a computer on and just leaving it on, doing absolutely nothing. It's not downloading anything. It's not updating anything. It's just going to sit there and do what it's told, which is pretty much nothing. Now, when you put a Borg in that state, you got a recipe for disaster, because it's got time to think for itself. It has no other voice telling it what to do. Now, what is incredibly interesting about this is that the Borg should, in theory, be scarier than the Cyberman, until you realise that the Cybermen actually have an advantage over the Borg in the scare factor. The advantage is that you are in control of your mind. Your mind is being used, but you have no emotions. So you turn into a logical psychopath, basically, in an armor suit. Basically, think of Robert Downey Jr. going nutso on an Iron Man set. That's pretty much what a Cyberman is. With a Borg, you've got a problem. The Borg are more deadly than the Cyberman. They are more difficult to kill. You might get into a war in the comments, which one's more deadly, but both of the franchises have problems. How to fix them? Take the Cybermen, take the Borg, and mate them. Literally mate them, because you've got an interesting idea. Say you take the Cybermen, which is basically a mechanical suit. Basically, they are robots. They turn into pretty much robots with biological components. But the problem is the creation is too slow. In comparison to a Borg can be fully functional. I think I read this somewhere, and this is in one of the Star Trek fact files. Yes, I have Star Trek fact files. I am that much of a nerd. A fully functional Borg can take 20 minutes so that it can assimilate and be protected from attack, in my view, from what I've seen from every single Star Trek episode ever. From what I've seen of Doctor Who, it can take a day. It can take 2 hours. It depends how many Cybermen there are, but it can take ages for a single human to be transferred with only one Borg. Say there's only one Cyberman on Earth right now, and it needs to reproduce, which is basically control other people. The problem with that is that it's too slow. The Borg, on the other hand, have nanoprobes that inject and basically transform on the molecular level. That is good. That's quick. That's very scary. It's basically the Romero zombie in technological form, which is really, really powerful. I think that is why the Borg are a lot scarier than the Cyberman. But the Cybermen have an advantage over the Borg. The Cybermen have been known to control minds. Literally, in some classic and new episodes of Doctor Who, they've been able to control minds. Borg cannot do that. So basically, if I was under the control of the Cybermen, you would not know. I could tell you to all go to this website. Once you are at that website, download the file, then you will be converted for upgrade. This is the cyber control. This is Thrawn speaking. Yeah, but with the Borg, they can't do that. They have not learnt in the Star Trek canon to basically control somebody to make sure that conversion of other people is easier. The Borg are a bit like a brick. You throw the brick at somebody's head, and if the brick misses and hits the shoulder, you're in trouble. If the brick hits, you hit the head, and somebody's knocked out. That's reasonably good. You've knocked somebody out. With the Cyberman, it's basically a prick with a little needle that is very unnoticeable, very silent, and you've knocked somebody out. In comparison, the Borg are basically a large brick. Very unsubtle. to improve the Borg, you need them to have that technology. But to improve the Cybermen, you need to have the speed of the conversion of them. Basically, you need the nanobots. This is why I think that both franchises, if the Borg ever come back, which I really hope they do, I think the Borg are an incredible enemy. You can rip them off, that's for sure. That's great. If you want to do a science fiction like don't do zombies. Frankly, just don't do zombies. Do the technological helpers, as in, we are here to improve your life. Take these nanobots and you will live forever. It's sort of the, we've got something for you that will make you live forever, but you don't know you're going to be under our control, sort of thing. It's a really good idea. I'm rambling, but I'm just enjoying doing this. One of the things I think Doctor Who should have done is have an episode where the Doctor travels to a new planet and sees people getting cybernetic enhancements, basically hands, or improvements like eyes, things that are good and help people. But what is the most interesting thing is the Doctor finds out that the improvements are from the Cybermen. Now, this is where I think a really good Doctor Who story could come out from it. It's, we're helping you. Then the Doctor realises the reason they're helping them is because they made sure the war is happening. This is why I think I'm going to have to make this a part 2, because I want your guys' opinion on this. I know you might not be Star Trek or Doctor Who fans, but I know there are probably some of you out there. I want to hear your opinions on what I think that basically would improve both science fiction classic villains, the Cybermen and the Borg. I think the Cybermen have become a bit stupid. They've become, we're not as scary as we were, because if you've ever actually seen any of the original Doctor Who 10th Planet, which you can look it up on YouTube, there are a couple of things. It says that the Cybermen were basically the original Borg, which, if you think about it, that is scary. It's like all these upgrades, and then you get to the point where it's like, screw emotions, and then it's like, we're an army, we want to help, we want to upgrade you. That is what's scary. So, but the Borg are more, we want to have peace throughout the universe. Please, if you like this video, put in the comments which would win in a fight, a Borg or a Cyberman. Now think about it. Really do think about it. One Borg versus one Cyberman. Now here's the kicker. The Cyberman has no weapons. The Borg can assimilate, and so can the Cyberman, but the Cyberman cannot shoot the Borg with a laser because they've already adapted. So, who would win? Write it down in the comments. Thank you for watching episode 2 of Think Tank, part 1 of the Cyberman and Borg conundrum. Goodbye. Oh, and Tell me what you think about the lighting. It's just my phone light put on the desk. Simple, isn't it? Okay, thank you. Bye.